Yeah, unfortunately, skiing is a sport connected to injuries, mostly limb injuries and knee injuries. I had 14 knee surgeries during my active career, and I spent about 36 months in all in rehab. In my career, there was half of skiing and half of rehab. No, it was tough to get back initially. Oh, it was getting tougher, but once when I learned to cope with it and I learned a bit about the rehab, I had quite successful rehabs throughout my career. But unfortunately, in the end, I had more and more problems with it, and the state of the knee was getting worse and worse. So I was kind of half rehab, half training all the time. When I had my first ACL surgery back in 1998, I thought it was the end of the world because from what I've heard from other skiers, it was very difficult to come back after a single ACL surgery. So I approached the whole surgery and the rehab afterwards with a lot of respect. But actually, it turned out quite okay. But unfortunately, in the next 3 seasons, I had 2 more ACL ruptures. So in period of 1998 to 2001, I had 3 ACL surgeries and 1 meniscus surgery, plus MCL surgery as well. And I learned a lot from that. And in the end, after being hit so many times, you kind of face the wall, face the decision if you should go on, keep going, or just quit. And I fortunately kept on going. But it was not an easy decision. It was a hard time because, like I said, if you count the proper ACL rehab lasts for about 6 months, that means in those 3 years I was out for about 3 times 6 months, plus ACL, plus MCL and meniscus surgery. So that puts us about 20 months of rehab, or 21 months in 3 years, and that's a lot. So, but in the end, there's no uncomplicated way of saying it. It's a whole story, the process that goes on inside a man that in the end creates a successful athlete. And I would say those surgeries and rehab helped me to become a more successful athlete. Although, basically it's a paradox, but after the 3rd ACL surgeries in 2001, I was really down and out. Nobody counted on me, and I won my first World Cup race right after that 3rd ACL surgery. And I really, when you look back at it, it was a battle of will, and but I learned a lot through that, and especially I learned a lot about rehab, which I used later. Unfortunately, I had more of problems and injuries, but when I faced my, say, 4th ACL surgery, or later when I faced the meniscus surgeries, I would say I learned so much about rehab that even the doctors were interested about my experiences, and we would make rehab plans together. So it's important to follow your own rehab, to know why are you doing something at a certain point and what's the result of that. So later you can, if anything happens, or you either can use this for later experience and or share this experience with others. The success of someone's rehab is how much time you can dedicate to it, but not only time, your own energy, your focus. And in the end, rehab should be quite precise. Rehab is not a thing that is like a, how would you say that? It's not a chaos. It's very strict. You have to follow a strict program and be disciplined, sometimes be patient, and the most important is to follow the reaction of your body, because the rehab is not the same for all people. For instance, very often rehab in general is based on knowledge about rehab of common people. Certainly the tissues have their own time to heal, and that's no question. But say a sportsman that is used to work, who knows what muscle contraction is, knows what running is, knows what jumping is, knows what he's expecting, is certainly a different kind of patient than what you get from the common people. But of course, it's very hard to make any kind of scientific data out of pure sportsmen. You know what I'm saying? It would be hard to collect, I'd say, 400 and 500 or 1,000 sportsmen of ACL and make a scientific project on them to see how their rehab works. On the other side, what we know about rehab is normally based on common people, and this is completely different. It's like tuning an ordinary car and tuning a sports car. So it just doesn't work together. It works to a certain point, of course. You know, the sports car has tires and a wheel just the same as the everyday car, but there are so many differences that it's just it's not compatible. So in real sports rehab should really be precise, should have goals, clear goals, and what is also very important in sports rehab, in sports rehab, the connection of therapist or a doctor and a sportsman is much stronger than in rehab of common people, because you're trying to gain goals in sports rehab. In common people, they don't want to be world champions after the rehab, but the sportsmen do, right? So it's really important to share the information with the doctors, follow your everyday progress, and work on that. It means like it's basically an everyday struggle. While on the other side, you don't get that with just ordinary folks. They don't care if they're gonna be back on the slope or back on the track in 6 months or 7 months or 8 months. But sportsmen do care, and they care that the whole thing works again as well as it worked before. Definitely, and you know what I think? Actually, the funny thing is that it can help, definitely can help the sportsman. But I think personally more it can help the ordinary people because the technology is strict. It helps you, it helps to make your rehab more precise. And this is what certainly lacks on, let's say, just like mass production therapy. It's not precise, it's not goal oriented. And here, like with technology, you can actually measure stuff and set some kind of goals, which makes the whole rehab better. Sometimes I'd compare it with training, it's like when you're a sportsman with a little bit more of training, you cannot make a little difference, right? But when you're just a common guy, if you train for a week, you feel a huge difference, right? So this is what technology is. Why technology is more important on everyday people, because the rehab is more precise. It's more goal oriented, and it helps the therapist to create proper programs for a certain level. What is the other thing with technology is that everyday people cannot say how exactly they feel, if they feel any progress or not. They can say, okay, I feel better today or I don't, but basically in terms of, say, proprioception, they can barely see any difference. While with help of technology, you can exactly measure if you have any progress on those small, sophisticated points of rehab. My first impression with LEGUAR was that I was a little disappointed that it didn't exist when I had my worst surgeries and the big rehabs. I worked with some kinetic exercises with I'd say those older machines, especially in the old days around 2000. That's one way of doing it, but this is way more sophisticated. This is the future, and I think my first impression was that it was way smoother than those old machines. Which is very important because you want to achieve, especially in the first weeks or months after the surgeries, you want to achieve low pressure on your ACL, because the ACL itself is still in the state of healing. So you can't push your ACL in any case. While all that movement with older machines is kind of like crooked, it's like fast or slow, or this machine, LEGUAR, is a lot smoother and definitely puts less pressure on the tissue that still needs healing. So this is one, for me, I think it's the most important thing. And then later, when you already enter, say, training on LEGUAR in later stages of rehab, you know that you can work with higher loads without any kicks or breaks. It runs very smoothly, and this is also important on higher loads. I'd say, like I said before, it has a huge potential, even more on the everyday side. Like sportsmen, sure, yeah, of course, but this is like something, I'd say, sportsmen, they need this. But the whole sports is on a high-tech end of of the spectrum. But let's say, what do everyday people get? They get far less than LEGUAR. And introducing LEGUAR into rehab, I would say they can benefit way more even than the athletes. LEGUAR is a few steps beyond what we have at the moment, and this is like, I think it's very important, because then you can precisely organize your rehab, and this is like, it already makes it better. The disbalance of muscles is one of the main causes of secondary rupture of ACL. This machine definitely can help you balance the muscles better than anything else, because it's you can precisely point which muscles you want to work and how strong you want to work with them. And this is like something that you can really control right here on this display. And after you have made the tests, you see where the problem is, and you can start working on it. So this is great because it has a really nice software, and the whole machine is just like I said, it's precise, so you can really see if you want to work harder on your quadriceps, or you want to work harder on your hamstrings. You can even, you know what you want to do, and you have the tools to do it. This is just one piece of the puzzle, of course. This is not like you would do only this, but you have the tool to make precise training, and this is hard to find, because usually what we do, what everybody does, once when you come back after ACL, you compensate. You start using your muscles the wrong way, and especially the point is that the closer you get to the peak, the stronger your moves are, bigger your strength is, the more you compensate. To avoid this damage, you want to do first in rehab those smooth little moves to see where you are, and then work on the muscles already from the start of the rehab, and then later when you get into strength training, you can again point the exact muscles that you want to work with. Of course, this machine has a specific software which makes the training a lot smarter, I would say, right? You can't imagine this machine without the software, because it's a nice crossover between a machine and a computer. So I think this is of course the next step. What we had before were machines, and this is a machine combined with a computer, and that is something else. So this, you feel all the advantage of that mixture. Yeah, definitely, especially with athletes who know what they want to do. You realize that you work with the machine, you learn how it functions, and then you start using it to your own advantage. And this is great, because like I said, the involvement of the patient in the overall process of rehab is crucial for rehab. So the more involvement you have, the better. So this is exactly what with this machine, it depends, after 2-3 hours or 1 day or 2 days, you realize how it works, and you can do it yourself. Make your own training. However you feel, and then again we come to that thing that I was telling you about, making rehab, forming rehab to each human's needs, or each human's state, and because of course we know that a 60-year-old human is not as 20-year-old human, or I don't know, 30-year-old sportsman is not the same as a 50-year sportsman. So we have all those kind of different needs And in that, even on that level, we have even more specialized stuff like, okay, some guys are playing football, some guys are skiing, some guys are cyclists, and this is all different. We are looking for different stuff in different sports, so that's why your rehab needs to be more precise, of course, to lead the patient in the right direction. Big thing with LEGUAR is that it was created by sportsmen. And I would say it was not created by engineers, but sportsmen and engineers together. And also, it was built for a long time. You built so many machines in the past. I worked on your machines way back, maybe even 10 years ago. And I see that how this machine is way more sophisticated than what you built in the past. And this is why you guys made so much effort in making the machine better and better. So I don't even think this is what we have today is also a stage. I think it's going to get better. But the thing is that you have experience and joined with others. You guys made a great machine, and the best thing about it is that it's going to get even better, because now the computer is incorporated in it, and future is coming. Softwares are going to get better and better. So this marriage of machine and software is basically the happy story about this machine. Yeah, that's you guys are gonna have to work hard on that, because the thing with robotics, it's not smooth. It's not as smooth as human is, and that's what we're looking for. This machine is way smoother than what we ever had before, but I think it's gonna get even better. But of course, what you need is more input, and I think you have enough of enthusiasm and knowledge to do it, but input is important, and this is also going to make your work a lot better. Like I said, I spent so many months of rehab in my life, and like I said, what I have learned during those rehabs helped me in the later stages of my career, and I also like to share all of my experiences with the others. I would say for me it was always important to have a nice talk with my surgeon, and then I was lucky enough to be handled by one of the greatest orthopedic surgeons ever, Professor Werner Müller, and he was always very I'd say it was important to sit down and listen to what he has to say about rehab, and then we would talk for hours and hours of my own experiences and his own experiences, and I've learned from that a lot more than when a surgeon comes after the surgery and tells you, okay, you have to do this, this, and this, and I'll see you in whatever 3 months. This input is what makes your rehab richer and makes you understand why you do certain stuff. It makes your rehab better. So the success of rehab is basically based on your own engagement, but also on exchange of information with others. So that's why I first saw this as a rehab machine. And I said, okay, this looks really good. I think this is a good way. This is a good way to go. And then you said, okay, let's talk about your rehabs. Let's talk about your experiences. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then we would talk and talk and talk for hours and think about how LEGUAR could be beneficiary in that process. This is certainly why I joined the project. I think, it's also with the experience, it's selfish to keep it for yourself. Because I think a lot of people helped me in my career, and I think it's just normal to share your experience and make the better world, whatever, you know what I'm saying, make a better LEGUAR. And I think this is a good project. It makes sense. I love that the technology is going forward, and I believe in LEGUAR. This is, especially the combination machine, robotics, computer. This is something that in the end, it's maybe even going to make cybernauts or whatever. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's like this is just the beginning, and this is the right way to go. We have the knee now. I hope we will have joints, machines to work on our joints, on other joints, and then later, who knows, the whole body. It's because I'm not of course I'm not a doctor or whatever, but I suppose that someday we might use superkinetics to teach people how to walk. And this is the next step. The more sophisticated softwares are gonna get, saying the computers are gonna be more and more sophisticated, they're going to work smoother and smoother. They're going to come close, or someday even the same, work on the same sensomotorical level as humans. So then you can use the software in combination with the machine, with the robotics, to build rehab machines that are something that you not produce anywhere else. When I came, many times when I came down from my hospital bed to rehab room, where people without legs and arms would do therapy just as well as I did, I thought someday there will be a medicine for this. Someday there are going to be machines who are going to teach those people how to use their legs and arms, and how to move with 100% efficiency as they did before the injuries. So I think this is what superkinetic technology is the first answer from today's point of view.